Hello again, and thank you for rejoining me as we continue with our introduction to our classroom and behavior management course. We'll be looking at the 4 skill areas that are necessary for becoming a consummate classroom behavior manager. The many vast number of intervention practices that we rely on and that we'll be investigating in this course fall into one of 4 categories. Positive, respectful, and effective classroom management is multifaceted. It requires knowledge and skill in a collection of components. In our course's learning modules, you'll build that knowledge and skill base that's necessary in these 4 areas. Proficient classroom managers create an organized classroom in which things run smoothly. Now, this component involves the actual physical structure of the classroom, how you design it, where you place the furniture, where you place the other accessories makes a difference. And having routine practices for recurring events. Think of some of the things that happen every lesson, every day, 3 times a week. For those recurring events, we need a way that youngsters approach those situations. Routines, as they're known. Routines for submitting papers, for handing in homework, for lining up at the door, for walking down the hallway, for collecting supplies, for cleaning up at the end of an activity. Now, as you can see in these 2 photographs, one of the keys to having a neat classroom, an organized classroom, is to not have any kids in there. As the eminent Harry Wong will tell you, the number one problem in our classrooms isn't that we're not punishing them enough. It's that we're not preventing the misbehavior in the first place. It's the misbehavior that never happens. That's the one we want to promote. And we can do so by giving those recurring events some structure so that the kids know what to do during those happenings. They need to know what to do and how to do it in order to display it. And then they need to be reinforced by us if we want them to continue showing those actions under those circumstances. The second of our 4 components is preparing and presenting our lessons. The second of the 4 components has to do with the sequencing of the lessons and the way that it's structured. Generally, it's the teacher does it, then teams of kids do it together, then the youngsters do it individually. The I do, we do, you do sequence. Certainly, there are exceptions to this rule with exploratory learning and activity stations. But keeping the kids engaged and on task with our teaching style is part of that motivation to get kids to learn. We need to be excited about teaching if they're going to be excited about learning. And so we make learning more accessible to them. We make the challenges less frustrating and demoralizing, more challenging, but in a way where the kid says, I think I can leap this hurdle. And we do so by meeting the important human needs in the area of self-esteem, self-image, self-respect. To meet these needs, individuals have to see themselves making progress, seeing some sort of progression that comes from the effort that they put in. And we want to involve the students, give them opportunities to answer and be connected through engagement with their learning. And the way that we develop this whole thing is through differentiated instruction, UDL, Universal Design for Learning. You'll want to Google that. You'll want to do an internet search for UDL. These are the three aspects of motivating kids to put forth their best effort. We look at how we present the lesson, the different ways we can do that to help a kid better understand what it is that we hope they will gather into their gray matter. We can differentiate or vary the way that we assess their knowledge, that they show what it is that they have learned. And the third aspect is different ways of getting kids promoting an enthusiasm for engaging in the activity. And all along the way, in order for us to be successful with all of this, we've got to be with it. We've got to have those eyes in the back of our head. Given the present emphasis on differentiation and UDL, let's spend a little bit more time with it. Now, you're certainly familiar with UDL as it applies to building things and construction. You've probably noticed the curb cuts at the corners where people in wheelchairs can cross without having to worry about the drop or the rise. But you know, those curb cuts also benefit senior citizens, cyclists, parents with strollers. Those ramps that go up to the raised doors, they can be used by everyone, where stairs cannot be used by everyone. How about those earthquake handles in the bathroom stalls? Now, they can be used by everyone to rise to a standing position. You've seen the levers instead of doorknobs? Some folks have great difficulty with that turning motion, grasping it firmly enough and making the turn. With the lever, everybody can use it. Think of yourself when you've got an armload full of groceries and you can use your elbow to push down on it. UDL for learning takes this concept to the cognitive level versus the physical level. And the UDL sites you see listed there offer massive amounts of guidance and information for the first two areas of UDL. At the time of this recording, they're still a bit lacking in the third area, but you'll get that information in this course. On this slide, we ask the question, is there a connection between our interpersonal relationships with youngsters and the behavior that they display? Now, I suspect you're intellectually savvy enough to know that if we're asking this question, of course it's important. Yeah, it is just human nature to cooperate with folks who we respect and admire, people to whom we feel attached. So then, what are the characteristics of a teacher's approach or contact when we're satisfied with the youngster's learning and behavior? Of course, we get that warm glow. We feel wonderful that we are competent, that the youngsters are learning from us. Yeah, we're pleasant. We're pleased. And there's a bit of subdued enthusiasm. I mean, we are excited that this youngster is grasping the material. But then there are times, and especially with particular students, that they have great difficulty grasping what it is that we want in the way of gaining academic knowledge and skills, or whether it's behavioral knowledge and skills. And in that manner, some folks get very, not you, you're going to continue to engage to see a youngster there who is struggling and needs a caring, competent adult, such as yourself. And even though we're a bit frustrated and we think that things should be going a little bit more quickly and smoothly, we continue to be respectful, supportive. We encourage the youngster. Well, you can't get it yet, but with you and I teaming up, we're going to master this. We're going to get it. That important word when a kid says, I can't do this, we say, not yet, but you will be able to do this. But how do we prevent that irritation that we feel from getting in the way of that positive, pro-social approach to helping kids who are struggling? The answer? Symptom estrangement, symptom separation. Separate the child from the behavior. Oh, I hate that behavior. It must cease and desist. It must disappear. It must go away. And I will work with this child to disengage from that behavior pattern. I will help that youngster develop replacement behaviors that meet the same need for attention, for progress, for peer approval, for escaping a bad situation. I will teach a replacement behavior that meets those needs, and I'll make sure that youngster gets at least as much reward or payoff for showing the new behavior so that the youngster will be motivated to switch gears. In addition to organizing and designing our classrooms, combined with routines, of course, and developing a captivating teaching style, and the third point, developing positive connections with our kids, we also need a wide array of intervention strategies for building appropriate behavior and maintaining those appropriate academic and social actions. Yes, this is what most of us think about when we hear classroom management. Implementing strategies that direct our learners toward making good behavior choices. And we keep, over the course of our career, we keep placing new tools into our behavior management tool bag, more intervention arrows into our quiver. Remembering that prevention trumps reaction every time. The misbehavior that never happens is the one we strive to promote. And when we do respond, it's a response, not a knee-jerk reaction. We use calm-minded, thoughtful approaches to dealing with behavior issues. Telling a youngster to stop doing that. Well, telling someone to stop does not teach what should be done in its place. Therefore, we need to teach those replacement behaviors that we just talked about a minute ago. We say, what is the function, the purpose, the drive, the cause, the spark behind the display of that behavior? I need to come up with a more appropriate action that can be shown by that child under those circumstances, but it has to meet the same need, the same driving reason as the original response that we're not particularly happy with. And we must be sure that the payoff that the child gets, the rewarding outcome, is at least as strong as that original behavior, or else the kid will say, well, why would I bother changing? You will become highly knowledgeable and skilled in those 4 areas of classroom management. If you're already at that level, we will increase your proficiency level through our course. I look forward to working with you, and if at any point you have any questions regarding the requirements, ways of doing things, due dates, contact me, initially through email. But if we just can't carry on the conversation well in that form, then let's schedule a phone call or perhaps even a FaceTime, Skype, Zoom, video conference so that we can talk person to person. You can also catch me in my office during office hours. I'd love to interact with you personally. Just drop by for no reason other than just to chat. All right, again, we're underway and I look forward to working with you. Before we talk, do be sure that you've read that syllabus closely. It's all there. And boy, is it all there. This is a rigorous and demanding course. Many folks look at the syllabus and say, oh my goodness, how does anybody ever complete all of this? Relax. Students in previous semesters have done just fine, and you're going to do well too. We are going to cover all these areas of classroom management, and if you continue on in the BD track of our Childhood Special Education Certification Program, we're going to, in future classes, advanced coursework, go beyond managing surface behavior, as we achieve in this particular class. We'll get into how to change kids from the inside as we get into advanced strategies for working with kids who have significant mental health issues and behavior disorders. Come join us in that program if you find the study of behavior to be fascinating as I do. Have a great semester. I'm here to help make it great. Contact me anytime.